In the beginning, there was only instinct, no gods, no transformations, no destiny, right? That's how Dragon Ball started from when we watched it back during the original airing of the original Dragon Ball. Just two warriors now, born from a race on the brink of extinction. We're talking about Goku and Vegeta here. They're bound by pride, but they handle it differently, right? They're divided, really, in my opinion, by philosophy. Goku and Vegeta, despite being extremely powerful, they don't handle transformations and progression of power the same way. They have very different philosophies. And that rivalry, I think, is what's etched into their very fabric of existence here in Dragon Ball. And it's not because of hatred, it's because of their individual evolution. Their paths are forever intertwined, but they're never really identical. You know what I mean? Goku is the embodiment of freedom. From the moment that he's arrived on Earth, his power, has always come from within, not as a birthright, but as a product really of his curiosity. And he doesn't just fight to win, he fights to discover things. And every time he pushes past his limits, whether he was on Namek or against Frieza or standing even against Jiren in the Tournament of Power, it was never really about pride for Goku, right? It was really about the possibilities that existed. His transformations have always reflected his fighting spirit in that sense. The original Super Saiyan form obviously came from heartbreak, the death of Krillin, watching his best friend die before their eyes. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you have to think about those things. Super Saiyan 3 was really born out of desperation, for crying out loud. Like, the planet was at stake. Super Saiyan God was really earned through unity, right? Finally coming together and embracing that Saiyan heritage. And then Super Saiyan Blue really represented that Goku was completely in control of where he was at that point in time. And then Ultra Instinct, it's obviously that form beyond thought, right? It's Goku's most honest state yet. And he's not angry through all of this. He's not proud, but he's just being himself. And that's what makes Goku such an easy character to like and or to some people dislike, because it's that aloofness, it's that sense of detachment that bothers some people about Goku. So I guess I understand there. But to me, Goku's strength is kind of a paradox because it's limitless in a way that he never truly seeks an end, right? He wants to get stronger, not to really surpass others, but really to surpass himself. And that's exactly what makes him dangerous and, again, admired at the same time. Now, Vegeta, on the other hand, Vegeta is all about discipline, right? He's all about that grit. He's got the weight of legacy carried on broken shoulders. He's the prince of Saiyans, the prince of fallen Saiyans who, lost his throne, his race, everything that meant so much to him, everything that really correlated to what Vegeta's existence was, his pride. And then he finds himself standing besides a man that, he thought he was going to have to destroy at one point. And he was, hell bent on destroying, right? That was essentially his life mission, to make sure Kakarot no longer ceased to exist and stand in Vegeta's way. So Goku fights for growth on one hand, and Vegeta fights for redemption on the other. But when we look at the journey, it's always been heavier, from the way Vegeta's had to go through his moments, in that Majin Vegeta sacrificing himself for his family, refusing to fuse out of pride, and embracing it when the stakes really demanded that he should have fused with Goku and a little bit more intently. Vegeta sacrificed himself, unfortunately, kind of for nothing, right? So he had to unlearn everything that he was raised to believe, right? And his strength didn't come naturally in that way. It came from facing really the worst parts of himself, and that's a life lesson. We all have to face the worst parts of ourselves if we really want to evolve. You can't talk about evolution, you can't talk about progressing if you're not looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I could be okay with where I'm at, maybe happy with certain parts, but like, I could be doing better. Where are those moments? Where are those places, right? I think that's important, and that's a life thing that I think a lot of people don't take seriously, and then they wonder why they're not happy or confused, stressed, feeling out of place. You have to look at yourself and ask yourself, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? Where do I need to improve? We all have to do it. Now, Super Saiyan Blue wasn't just a power-up. It was a control over the storm inside of what was brewing for Vegeta. And now with Ultra Ego, he's finally really embraced those darker instincts that I think a lot of us have been wanting him to kind of get into, right? But it's not really for the sake of just destruction. For now, it's truth, right? Vegeta's newest form of Ultra Ego, it isn't just about power. It's about really accepting who he is, flaws and all, and finally finding a way to turn that into his strength, a strength that he can use for good. That would be my message to everybody out there, especially the struggling men. Don't succumb to the state of the world. Don't secede to the chaos, bro. Find a way to take your frustration, and turn that into positivity that can actually do good and do good for people. They'll talk about it in a positive way. They will look up to you in a positive way. And it'll make an overall difference that people are like, wow, that's someone that was thinking more than just about himself. You know, he was thinking about trying to help out others in any way he could, little or small. I think that's what's really the important narrative here. So when you look at both Goku and Vegeta, flaws and all, Whis is watching them both at the same time, right? The angel guide, he's always there. He's observing. He only interferes when he sees it necessary to do so. But for the most part, Whis is there essentially as a beacon saying, continue to push your limits. Don't just settle for where you're at. You can be content there, that's fine, but it's like you can do more than what you think. Whis doesn't measure strength the way mortals do. That's kind of my point. He sees potential as energy in motion, essentially, always changing, always shifting, going in flow. Also, kind of similar to that Bruce Lee philosophy. Be like water, right? So when Whis is training Goku and Vegeta, he's not really just giving them power. He's offering them perspective.